So I'm going to apply the same methodology. So if I just go to OLBG, the link's in the description below the video, we can see what matches are coming up. So actually, I'd start off with a page like this, and then I clicked on today's football tips. So then we can see what things the OLBG community are looking at. So these are games that are coming up later today. Just wait a second. Reading QPR looks interesting. Because I like games where the odds are nearly evens. So actually I'm just going to look at this. So, I know next to nothing about these teams, but that's the joy of just using stats. So like in the previous video, I'm just going to use two approaches to study this game and see whether there's any interesting bets there. So I begin by looking at OLBG and seeing what people say. So this is the Israeli League. I knew that because I think I'd bet on these teams in the European League or something. Like I've heard the name before. Who have the best home record in division, winning 6, drawing 1. Okay. Take on Maccabi Haifa, who have lost just one away game. So it should be close, but a home win for me. This person tends to be right. So, I'll take that on board. The odds are 1.45 for these guys to win. So that's over 70% or something, so very likely, according to the market. Both teams to score, this reckons no. Okay. Over or under goals. So I'm going to start by reading OLBG. Then I'll look at Soccerstats, which gives us, gives us data, so we can see how often has there been 3 or more goals for both these teams and that kind of stuff. Using the logic that if this team has had high scoring games 80% of the time, the chances are it's going to be a high scoring game again. Because basically, now it could be a high scoring game because their defense is useless, so they concede loads of goals, or it could be because they score lots. Okay, so we got distracted a bit there. 3 or more goals looks value here. In the last 7 meetings between the sides, there have been 27 goals, just short of 4 per game on average. In home sides' last 6 home games, they've had 20 goals. Okay, so this guy is saying that they tend to have loads of goals. But then why are the odds this way? If a team tends to have loads of goals, the odds should be 1.5 or something. But it could be that the other team has a very good defense. So, Okay. Now, I just more wanted to pick a game. So, now on to Soccerstats. On Soccerstats, I can click which league I want to look at. So I'm going to go to the Israeli league here. There you are. And who are the teams? So one team is coming top of the division. Okay. And the other one, Maccabi Haifa. Okay, so in my Premier League language, these guys seem to be like maybe Man City, or when in their best. They win roughly 2 out of 3 games. They rarely lose. They tend to score over 2 goals and concede less than a half. Okay. While these guys, Maccabi Haifa, they score lots of goals. Well, a goal and a half, 21 from 16. And they concede less than a goal a game. Okay. So I would expect this team to win. Next, I'm just gonna open this up. No, I didn't mean that. Seems to be taking its time. Okay. So at home, HB Sheva have won 6 out of 7. So they're very good. They average scoring 3 goals a game and barely concede. The away team is Maccabi Haifa. They have drawn quite often. They don't concede many goals. They don't score many. Okay. Back to here. Goals. So HB Sheva, 3 more goals or more 71% of the time. That's interesting because, you know, the odds are saying we'll double your money if there's 3 or more goals, yet it happens 71% of the time. For Maccabi Haifa, though, they have a very good defense. So Maccabi Haifa away have only had 3 or more goals in a game 12% of the time. So that's why the odds are as high as they are. Now it could be interesting that, does that mean we're betting on 2 or 3 goals would make sense? You know, because they often have 2 goals, Maccabi Haifa, and these guys always have more than 2 goals. So that would be, you know, in mind. Do they tend to have both teams to score? No. For Maccabi Haifa, no. I'll just go a little bit deeper. So Maccabi Haifa, do they tend to score? Maccabi Haifa, they have only failed to score in 2 out of 8 games. And these guys have always scored. Okay. These guys have a pretty good defense. I mean, they have the best clean sheet record at 57%. Okay. And finally, just both teams to score. HB Sheva, 43%, which is actually quite low, you know, from all the teams. They're down here. Maccabi Haifa, both teams to score middling. Okay. So now we have a picture of what's going on. I would expect HB Sheva to win, but I'm not that confident that we're going to have 3 or more goals based on the fact that Maccabi Haifa have a good defense. So that's what we can see from our look at Soccerstats. And I'll add the link to Soccerstats, this link, below the video. So you can probe around yourself. One more look at the home and away. So their home record is very compelling. It's hard to look beyond a home win. Though Maccabi Haifa have only lost 1 out of 8 games, so that's also kind of compelling. But at least now we know more than we did when we began. So now I want to look at it from the point of view of the Poisson model. So here we're doing, football betting from the perspective using Soccerstats and using the Poisson model. So where we fit a random process to the number of goals scored by both sides. Since the goal scored by a side is very close to Poisson. And that means if I know that team A scores on average 2.5 goals a game, the Poisson distribution tells me how often they will score 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever number of goals. And we looked at that earlier on, that's a known thing. It doesn't fit perfectly, but it fits well. So I just, we've gone through this before. I click on the scored conceded and I can get the data that I need for my Poisson model. This is the Poisson model implemented in R. So now I just need to put in the data. So I need this score on average 3.29 and concede 0.43. That's stunning. 3.29, 0.43. Then I need the average. So 1.25 and 1.01. So that's just to scale things. So I can kind of go, okay, they actually, if you normally score 3.29, but the team you're playing against has a really good defense, so you need to score 2 goals to get 1 in effect. You use this data, like the league averages, to put in some kind of scaling. So 1.25, 1.01. Also, remember, this is just a model, so it's printing out numbers, but I don't know whether it's the right way to do things, whether it means anything. So, on the side, we're also entering in these kind of numbers into a spreadsheet so that I can keep track of what the model expected and what actually happened. So then that way we can kind of go, okay, this Poisson model is totally wrong all the time, or it's not bad, but it's not great. So how accurate are its predictions? So back to here. Now I need to look at the away team. Maccabi Haifa, 1.13, 0.75. 3, 0.75. So then we do 100,000 simulations and generate statistics. So it's saying it expects the home team to win. Okay. And to be fair, I would be highly skeptical if it didn't. I mean, we saw from the league table that HB Sheva have a near perfect record. They are on average scoring over 3 goals and conceding under a half. So you're typically going to be winning. Now let's see here. What else do we know? Now we can see here, it isn't expecting more than 3 goals. So it has taken into account the fact that, well, the team that's playing has a very good defense. So, well, home scored is that? No, okay. Mean home 1. So on average, it expects the home team to only score 2. So against an average team in the Israeli league, this team is scoring 3.29 goals. But this team has a better defense than a normal team, and so we would expect less goals to be scored. Likewise, the away team is typically scoring 1.13, but the home team has a really good record. So the away team would also expect to score fewer. Home team to win to 0. That seems to have a 50% probability. That might be an interesting bet. Away team to win to 0, well, highly unlikely. Okay, so that's what the Poisson model is saying. Less than 3 goals, okay. So now I have my Soccerstats analysis and I have my Poisson analysis. You can see over here I've actually got some stuff on correlation, because the Poisson model in itself is pretty good, but it does have known flaws. There does seem to be a correlation between the 2 scores. So I'm experimenting with creating a correlated Poisson model. I'll see how that goes. So now I want to look at the betting market. So looking at the betting exchanges, probably I'll look at Betfair and then see whether, what are the odds there? Is there a mismatch between how I see what's going to happen and how the market sees it? Hapoel. There you are. So it expects the home team to win. Looking at OLBG, there was saying 1.45, so I'm actually getting better odds on Betfair than from the bookies, which is typically the case. Also, they'll take a little cut from that if you win, so I might get 1.52 or something. Okay, so I expect that. What was my analysis? So the interesting things were the home team to win. Okay. 3 or more goals if the odds. So I'm saying it's not that clear that we're going to get 3 or more goals. I'm interested, what is it saying about the 2 or 3 goals? A home team to win 2-0 looks interesting. So my Poisson model is saying if that's about evens, that's fair. But if I get really good odds, then that's worth a bet. So do I have... I normally have win 2-0 as an option. Where'd it go? Okay. What is it saying for over 2.5 goals? Decision time. Now back here. The home team to win by with the Asian handicap of 1 is nearly 50-50. What are the markets saying? Now this is not what I wanted, sorry. I don't want handicap, I want Asian handicap, yeah. Because a handicap means if I say a handicap -1, then if you win, you lose the bet. I want so I want Hapoel Beersheva -1. There you are. So if they win 1-0, then I don't lose the bet. But they'll need to win by 2 goals for me to win the bet. But my prediction is it'll be it could be 2-1 or it could be 2-0. If it's 2-1, then I don't lose my bet. If it's 2-0, I win my bet. So this kind of gets here I'm expecting to either not lose or win. So I'm happy with that. Did the bet get matched? No. So I won't be petty. There. So that's based on the fact that it's not clear about the goals. Now, the 2 or 3 goals could be interesting also. I don't know whether Betfair do that. So am I interested in like 2 or 3 goals, that kind of bet? Both teams to score, I didn't really see great value there. I can see here, both teams to score is unlikely, according to my Poisson model. So, according to my Poisson model, I don't think it's going to be both teams to score. So that seems a good bet. I'll go back here. Okay. So, these guys, less than half the time, you get both teams to score. I mean, they have a very good defense. These guys have a very good away defense. So I expect less than half the time it's going to be both teams to score. And that's what the odds are saying. Okay, so that's not a bad bet. But it's pretty much in line with what I would expect. Now, the other way to go is to try and predict the score. So I'm going to back that the home team are going to win 2-0. And I'm going to say the home team are going to win 2-1. Because my Poisson model is expecting the home team to score 2 goals and the away team to score a half a goal. So there's a 50% chance that they'll score no goals. There's a 50% chance that they'll score 1 goal. So then that means I reckon that it's going to be 2-0 or 2-1. If it's either, you get very good odds. So that makes it worthwhile as a bet. So, we picked a game using OLBG, which kind of focuses in on the interesting matches that are on today. Then we looked at Soccerstats to look at data to see, okay, for this team, we always get 2 or more goals. We nearly always get 3 or more. So they're a good goal scoring team. But we also saw from the averages they actually have a very good defense also. Then we have Maccabi Haifa. They have rarely, only once out of 8 games, have there been 3 or more goals. So they have a very good defense. That's pretty much everything covered. Oh yeah, so that's using the Soccerstats so that we can and then we looked at how often both teams have kept clean sheets, how often they have ended up scoring a goal, how often they've had both teams to score. Yeah, so if there was a very clear pattern, then I would have zoomed in on that. But I didn't find anything really from this. The standout for me was how good these guys, Haifa's defense is, that they very rarely are involved in high scoring games. Then we looked at the Poisson model, just plugging in the averages home for scoring, conceding, etc. Plug that into our Poisson model to see what that expects. And there we can see we expect the home team to win 73% of the time. We expect the home team to score twice, the away team to score on average a half. So once we have all that information, we can kind of look at the betting markets and see where we think that there's value. So we'll see how that goes tonight. So that seems a reasonable enough way to go about things. We'll see over time how believable this Poisson model is, whether it's just printing out numbers or whether it actually matches to what happens.